I'm going to use these lessons to talk about how to use charcoals, especially black charcoal and white charcoal on a tonal paper. Let's start, and we're going to draw this very handsome gentleman. So first thing, I'm going to use divine charcoal. I'm going to put the material links in the video descriptions. All right, I'm going to quickly put the location. So I don't want to make the faces too big. Like about this size. Composition is very crucial. Okay. Now, since I decided this is the location for the face, and the line charcoal is very easy to manipulate, or erase, like that. Okay, so this is the rough composition. Now we're looking at the top of the hair to the chin. I'm going to divide this, and I think it's the eye lines. It's just in the middle. So I'm going to mark it. Would be the location for the eyes, like this. And I'm looking at the eyebrows. It's about over here because his hair is very long. I won't be able to see the eye line. So I'm going to, this way I find out the eyebrows. From the eyebrows, the chin, the nose is right about a little bit lower than the half point. So this is good, right? And now I can see that the shadow of the nose is about over here. It may or may not, we haven't do the measurement yet. So the face, the termination line between the light and shadow is probably over here. So I'm going to mark this little location first. I have to put something on the paper before you're going to start do the measuring. Like that. And then the mouth. The bottom of it is very much the middle point, a little bit lower than the middle point from the nose to the chin. So this way, you can locate this. And then from here to there, the top of the lips, and actually divide this in half. So there's many different ways you can find proportion. More you do it, it's just easier for you to find a way quickly find that. So roughly like that. And we're going to put say the left side of the face about over here, like that. And we're not sure how wide the face would be. So we're going to do a quick measurement by looking at their face. I'm going to take the longer side. Some people like to take the shorter side compared to the longer side. I just find this one is easier. And this is the height, and I'm going to rotate that to see half point. Interesting. The half point is just on the shadow over here, on the termination line. So this is good. I'm going to take this, half is over here, right? This is half, and I'm going to take the half, I'm going to double check on that. This is half, wow, a little bit higher than half, right over here. So I'm going to take this is half, close enough, half, a little bit longer, like a little higher, right here. So from the left side to the right side to this termination line, it's just half of this, half of the height of the face. So this is good. So we find it correctly. Now we're just going to add a little bit on the right side over here. This is their face. Now we find that. This is good. Now from the eye, then we already know the eye is right over here. Okay, and I think here is dividing from this side, the width of this, not including the ear. So that means the middle right over here. And the eye is sitting in between this. So roughly, we got the correct location. Okay, now looking at the nose over here, you can compare with the angular measurement. You can, coming up over here, you can see about this location, this is the bottom of the ear. And the top of the ears is about over here, like that. This is good. Now we find the rough, big location. Okay. Okay, that's good. Now what we're gonna do, I'm going to shade into, or say block into the big location, the big shapes. Okay, like say over here, the hair, the local color for the hair, it's just darker. So let's make it a little darker, like that. Okay, the eyebrows over here. Locate the eyebrows. Let's take a look at the eye. Now we already know the location of the eye. This is pretty easy, like that, right over here. A very curious eye. Okay, like that. Okay, this eye, I can see that there is a highlight in here. So I'm going to try to leave the shape for the highlight. And on this side of the eye, inside the eye, it actually have shadow. So it's a little bit darker. And also the eyelid over here, a little darker over here too. And this has catch the shadow. Okay, now I'm going to come in to take a look at the nose. I'm going to see I see the shade, the cast shadow of the nose is about here. I saw that in the conversation of the members that is about how you use their white charcoal. So I'm going to use this video to answer some of the questions. Okay, now I'm going to use my finger to blend it. You can use a blender, you can use paper, however you want to blend the shade. And look at the hair. The whole head looks like lots of details, but don't get distracted from the whole big shape of the head, because this side is a little shadow side, right? So this side, making sure the hair over here, it actually get this side a little bit darker. Now is the time to divide the shape over here into light side and shadow side. This. So now, and also the neck, this side, I'm going to blend the shade a little bit, otherwise the texture is overwhelming. So I'm going to make sure I have the charcoal blending in a little bit subtle, and I can also use the light charcoal to blend into the shape next to the mouth. This is supposed to be a little bit darker, like that. Okay, now the corner over here. Like that, coming. This is rounded. The whole shape over here is rounded. And from the left side to the right side, is the whole shape of the mouth is rounded from here and turning to this side. Okay. Now I'm going to come into to define the contour of the face. I'm going to look at the ear. The ear is not that clear because it's in the distance. It's supposed to be a little bit softer. So you don't want to treat the ear in the distance from the front of the face the same way that you treat the eyes, the nose, okay, you can treat it a little bit differently. Okay, that's good. All right, we're gonna come back to do a little bit fine tuning, but right now I'm gonna start talking about how to use the white charcoal. Since you already have the paper color serve as the middle tone, so the white charcoal is just going to create the highlight, right, or the light area. But before you're going forward to apply the white charcoal, first you want to use the eraser, because you make sure that you don't want to mix the white charcoal. You don't want to mix the white charcoal with the black charcoal. It looks a bit like very much like a muddy. So for the hair, I just use the eraser, so I can have the details. Now I come in to use the wine charcoal to give a little bit detail over here, like over here curve a little bit darker. That's good. A few lines over here, suggest the movement, and then have a couple here coming. If there's too much, easy just to erase it. Like that. Okay, over here, a little bit darker. And on this side is darker, some area. And the top over here has some detail over here, but you don't have to mix the areas in the distance with the same way that you would do that for the area at the front. So I'm going to make it even softer. Now I'm looking at the right side, like this. That's good. Like that, good. Now I'm going to take a look. I'm going to use this white charcoal, and this area has no charcoal. If there's charcoal, you first want to clean this first. So I'm going to have this blend this color a little bit in, but in the top over here, I'm going to make the highlight over here. So mix first. I'm going to lift up the charcoal. They're already here. Okay. And on this side, I'm going to clean that a little bit, like that, and a little bit softer over here, transition. Okay, inside the eye over here, I'm also going to clear a little bit for the highlight. Okay, now I'm going to use the white charcoal, start from, look at this area, has a little bit lighter, right? So the paper color is served as the middle tone. And the highlights on the nose, like over here, coming up, a little bit softer, coming up like this. Okay, under here is a little bit lighter. It's lighter than the paper color, like that. And on the lower lip of the mouth, there is, I can put a little to highlight right over here. And look at on the chin, this area is a little bit lighter. If the white charcoal a little bit too much, you can use the eraser to soften it, to make it a little lighter. What I did before, it mostly a rough placement. Or you can say placeholder. And just make it a little softer, like this. Okay, now it's good. Now I have a chance to come in to make a little bit more adjustment. Now looking for the shape over here. Okay, that's good. You already know the outside shape. And now the corner over here is about here. It's very easy to make the correction. Now I'm coming to the nostril on this side. And that thing should be a little bit higher. Like this. Okay. Now let's correct the shape of the nostril. Now there's an issue over here. We cannot really see the side of the nose. And in this case, we need to use the white charcoal and give a little suggestions over here. We don't have to make it really light. Just a little bit like that. Now it suggests the edge of the nose. Now it's good. And the nose over here should be a little bit lighter, like that. Okay. Now, looks like we're going to remove this white charcoal. Now I'm gonna looking for the corner of the mouth. Just remove that a little bit. We do a little adjustment. Okay, that's good. Now at this point, I'm also going to suggest the edge of this shape under the nose, like that, very lightly. And over here too, we're gonna see a little bit lighter shape over here. That's good. And over here too. If you mix the white charcoal and the black charcoal together, and it will look like a little dirty, as I mentioned before. You really need to not to mix two of them together. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna clean that. And just squint the eye to see is what it need to be. Should I use the use the eraser to clean the space is good enough, or do I have to use the white charcoal? So you have to make it to depends on how dark the color is. Now I come into this eye. Let's take a look. What's the location of this eye to come in over here and a little bit inside of the edge of their nose, like right over here. They're in the right location. And now take a look at then the iris. The iris should be here. Now again, I'm going to leave this the highlight area. Even though I can use the white to create it, but I don't want to put the white on top of the black charcoal. It's good. Now I'm going to move the lower eyelid a little bit higher into here. I'm going to use just the eraser to clean up this space. Let's see, about here. Now I'm gonna put this area a little bit, even a little bit darker, to make it turn a little bit faster. Okay. And I'll put a little here. The eyebrows in this location. You can have a little bit texture. Okay. This is texture only for the area that deserve their attention, which is having more contrast. Okay. Now shrink down this light shape. As you see, I give a little bit more attention at the area at the front and leave the areas a little bit away, even though this is only a few inches away. I want to like exaggerate the distance. So I have a little bit easy going with the viewer's eye. Like that. Now I come back over here. Come back to the face. Now take a look at the sideburn. Sideburns right over here. Now I'm gonna redefine it. Like that. Now look at the ear. Now the pose is a little bit different now. Now take a look at the edge over here. I don't want to put too much of sudden contrast, sudden changes at this outside over here. So I'm gonna keep that a little bit soft. Like that. Now take a look at the ear. I'm gonna make the ear a little bit smaller in here. Like I come in here. Like that. It's very easy to change it. Now I'm gonna use the eraser. Just keep a little bit lighter area. Definitely the ear here doesn't need any white charcoal. I don't need to be very clear. Okay, now over here, you have a little bit shape over here, and in over here, a little bit darker shape, like that. That's good. Okay, that's probably enough suggestions. So now seeing the head, lots of details in the hair, but you want to see the whole shape. The impression for the hair over here is always from a little bit darker on this side, get a little bit lighter, and I'm gonna give it a little bit more highlight in the middle over here. Supposed to be deserve a little bit more highlight. Okay, give a little bit and keep stretching or twisting your needle eraser. I'm gonna have this light coming over here like that. I'm gonna keep a little bit light at the front over here. But be careful there. You don't want to make it too too much of keep it a little random. Okay, there's a little shape over here too. I'm gonna have one hair coming down here. Like that. That's good. We're looking at the face again. Now I'm looking at the mouth. Let's first define the edge over here. This area needs to be a little bit clear. Like that. Now looking at the mouth. And the corner of the mouth is supposed to be here. But it's not very, very dark. So you don't want to keep everywhere is the same very range. Some area, the darkest color, you need to limit it. It's not very dark. Like for example, on the mouth, the darkest colors are on that corner over here on this side, and it's not that dark. So let's clean that a little bit here. Make it a little softer. Okay. Not looking for. There's a little line here, like this. Okay, that's good. A little bit. Let's move it a little outward. That's good. Okay, looking for the suggestions of the mouth is turning over, because underneath the mouth is the 2 rows of teeth. It's supposed to be rounded. Like this corner over here has like almost looks like a triangle now. And has a little bit shadow side over here. Okay, just look for the shape. You already taking care of the bigger shape. Now looking for the smaller shape. Okay, a little bit transition coming here and push it up. That's good. Now I'm going to see define the inside over here. That is a little line over here, a little bit darker. Just showing that the mouth, actually there is the line over here that's the opening supposed to be right over here, like that. That's good. Now I'm looking for the lower lip. And let's define a little bit small narrow shape over here, like this. It's not very dark. And a little detail like that. That's good. Right, that looks good. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to clean a little bit over here. Use the eraser. And also at the corner of the mouth over here, make a little cleaner at the edge over here. Now I'm going to use the white charcoal because this area a little bit lighter. And also plus, I need to create a little bit difference between this area and the lower lip. But it doesn't need to be that light. So I'm going to use my lid eraser to soften the white charcoal a little bit. That's good. So I'm going to give it a little soft line, really soft, like this. That's good. Now up here, I'm going to connect that. That's good. But right under this nostril, it's not that sudden, a little bit softer, like that. Can make it. That's good. Now looking down over here, I'm gonna have this value a little bit soft blend in over here, like that. That's good. Now this supposed to be a little bit lighter, so I'm gonna use the lid eraser. I don't have to totally clean the whole area here. Just tap on it to make it a little bit like that. That's good. Now I'm looking at back to the eye in this location. Now I'm gonna see the iris here in the cleaner a little bit like that. That's good. And actually inside the eye white can be a little bit lighter. That means I might use the white charcoal to help that. Okay, this can be a little bit lighter like that. Okay, now I'll come back over here. Let's take a look. I already have this area reserved it to be light. So put a little white over here. I try to avoid to draw the white on top of the black charcoal. Like for example over here. I'm gonna make it a little bit clean. Now before I'm gonna put a little white charcoal in here, but I'm gonna draw it really softly like this. Okay, so only this area like that, right? And maybe over here a little bit, but it's not a lot. Sometimes you draw a little line when you're looking at it from distance. It looks just fine. And now come to this side. I'm gonna do the same thing. Inside the eye white over here, make it a little bit lighter. That's good. I'm gonna use the white charcoal again to clear up the relationship. Okay, like that. It looks good. Okay. Now looking on this side, this area is supposed to be darker. Otherwise, the eye looks a little bit too much contrast in here. That's good. Make it a little bit darker, like that. That's good. Now looking down, over here, I need to make the edge a little bit clear for this catch the shadow area. That's good. Now coming into this darker area like this, that's the nostril. Need a little bit higher. And now I'm going to use the eraser to clear up this space here. There's a little light shade, but this area is not, you need a light charcoal, just a little light shade. That's good enough. Clear this too. Okay, that's good. Now looking at this side of the face, I have a little sideburn over here showing. and also showing a little ear. And the lower part of the ear is right over here. Like this. Just a little suggestions. Okay, that's good. Have that color continue into here, and little suggestions. That's good. That's for the ear. I'm gonna have the hair connect to the ear over here, so it represents that a little bit better. Okay. It's good. Make it a little bit more expressive. Okay. Okay, now we're coming down to the side of the face over here. I think this is fine over here. I'm gonna use the eraser to clean the outside over here so you can see where's the edge of the face. Now I use the line charcoal to come down over here looking at the chin. Okay, that is now looking at the bottom over here, this area a little bit darker. Now, where is it? It's supposed to be over here, like this. It looks like the side of the face needs to come in a little bit because this is coming down like this in this motion. Okay. If something is supposed to be softer, just use your finger or your blender to blend the value a little bit, make it a little bit softer. When you do a watercolor, you can use the water to make it a little bit softer. So the sideburn can come in a little bit over here, like that. And take a look over here, this area now we're going to define a little bit. But it doesn't need to be that dark. If you make it too dark, it looks like a little bit overemphasized. So everything is relative. You need to compare. Right? If you want that areas a little bit lighter, just use the needle eraser to make it a little bit lighter down over here. That's good. That may be a little bit too light. You can make it blend in a little bit. Now we're gonna come back to the ear. The ear, I'm gonna soften this area. I need to redo it. Like that. Now let's see. The bottom of the ear. Now let's see. Like that. With white charcoal, you can use the finger and you can make it lighter, a drawing tool. And the top of the ears is supposed to be here, like that. Give a little suggestions, like this. It's good. now I'm gonna use the white charcoal again. I come in here, maybe soften that. There's the triangle over here. You can make a little darker value. Okay. But anyway, the ear is quite a bit far away. Not really far away, but is away from the surface of the front of the face. Okay, now it's the bottom of the ear, like that. Now we use the outside, the hair, to form the shape. Okay, now it look like this is the ear over there, and you can leave a little some room for the people use imagination. Now on the edge over here, the neck is coming from here. So now the dress, I don't have to put too much of details to the dress. Just give enough suggestions. That's good enough. Like that. Okay, now looking at the neck on this side. So what I'm gonna do is just use the charcoal, create a little stroke over here, like this. Can define that. Enough suggestions. I'm gonna have this coming in a little bit. So suggesting that actually is the shape all the way connecting in. Now this is good. I'm going to organize this area. Now I can take out this shape over here, those things. I don't need that. A little bit, they all create good suggestions. A little stroke like that, it create very crucial suggestions. Like over here, I'm gonna throw a little, not very dark shape, but a little bit like a maybe number 6 and number 7. Number 6 and number 7, that's good enough value. Okay. I'm going to use the needle eraser, like that, over here. Okay. Okay, now come here to emphasize this shape, this piece of cast shadow. And you don't need to make it too dark. Just like this. Enough, could be enough suggestions. That. So get your feelings into your drawing through their series of back and forth readjustment, fine tuning. You'll be able to put your full feelings into the drawing, the artwork, whatever you're doing. But you need to open up to see how you feel about the subject that you're drawing. You feel the way it's supposed to be, or it just feel a little bit uncomfortable. Like at this area over here, I'm gonna have it a little bit lighter. I just use the nitty eraser. Okay. I'm gonna coming over here. So if that's not what you want, you can lighten it, or you can remove it. So I'm gonna soften that a little bit over here. That's make it a little bit lighter. Okay, let's take a look. I think we can come in a little bit on the side over here, because the face should be a little bit coming in a little bit more, like that. That's good. Now take a look at the nose here. I think this area needs a little bit more solid white. I want that to be maybe a little bit too much. If that's the case, you can soften a little bit by using the nitty eraser. There's also another reason you don't want to draw the white charcoal on top of the black charcoal, because it makes it look really muddy if you use the eraser to erase it. Okay, let's take a look. There's supposed to be something over here also a little bit light. And the other thing about using white charcoals, you don't want to always draw it really dark or really light or really solid. Okay, a little bit over here. I think this is a little bit too light. I'm gonna lift up a little bit white charcoal. Like that. And that light should be a little bit higher. That come up a little bit. Okay, and the corner over here should be a little bit lighter. Not very light, but a little bit lighter. If you see that, it's supposed to be a little bit lighter, and then you can compare with the paper color, and if the paper color is already correct, that is the correct value. In that case, use the eraser. Alright, it's just after you use the eraser, it's still not enough, and then use the white charcoal. Okay. Now, let's take a look. Now we come in here. This has a little bit clear, a little bit darker on this side. Let's see. Move that charcoal, that value in a little bit over here. Let's take a little look at the nose over here. This is supposed to be a little bit lighter, like that. Come in, just break the shape a little bit. Okay, that looks good. Now looking at the corner of this mouth over here, it maybe also need a little white color over here, a little bit lighter, like that. That's good. You do squint your eyes so you can see a little bit clear. And now I can change the shape a little bit of the cast shadow. Now I come in here with the white charcoal, and this should be come in a little bit on this shape, like that. So gradually you tighten in, correct the features. Actually, so come in a little bit like that. That's good. And now their drawing it get a little bit more realistic because of your correction. Okay. That's a little bit too much. Soften that. Okay, it's good. Now take a look at the whole drawing to see how it make you feel. I think over here need a little bit suggestion, a little bit more suggestions. Sometimes less is more. That's actually good. Like that. Maybe this line should be a little more. It's good. Keep that disconnected. That's a little bit too much. So I'm going to actually blend in this area first. And then I'm going to use the eraser to create that connection. Now that's good. Now this called less is more. And then also in over here, I don't need it that solid. I'm gonna make this a little bit lighter, like that. Like that. Okay, I want to have this line a little bit more blended inside of the shirt. Now come back to take a look at the face again. I think this area, the hair, a little bit darker over here. Generally, the wine charcoal, it does not stick well on the regular paper. But somehow this brown paper just works pretty well with wine charcoal. I would put the materials link on this video description. Take a look at it. It's not that expensive. And now I'm going to use the nitty eraser for another suggestion of line like this. Let's take a look at the bottom over here. I think I'm gonna shrink it in a little more, like that. Okay, I like that a little blurnish. It may be a little bit too much, too blur. So I'm gonna try to come in here to give a little, see, very soft line. Little soft line. It actually looks good. Like this. And the bottom over here. Shrink it a little bit. Move it up a little bit. It actually looks good. I'm going to use the eraser to remove the area under here. That looks good. I'm going to use one line coming up like this. Okay. That. Take a look at the side over here. I think this, like that, may need to also doing the same thing. A very thin soft line and coming through over here. When you do that, making sure your hands clean, so you're gonna want to make the face dirty. So into here, come in a little bit. A little bit. And the line doesn't need to be too persistent. Okay, that's okay. And I'm gonna from the outside. That's good. Now I come in over here too to define the mouth. Now over here, it's a little bit lighter at this corner. Like that. And in this area, a little bit lighter too. Let's see, maybe a little bit too strong. I'm gonna soften there a little bit. Now look at this area. I did not put anything over there, but that is just the correct values, just with the paper. Okay. Now take a look at the chin over here. That's supposed to be the light color coming in this area. But when you see in the outside over here, there should be back to the paper color. Okay, I think the chin over here could be come up a little bit. I'm gonna just draw some uncertain line like that and give a little thickness of the chin. That looks good. Now coming down over here, making sure that actually a little bit clear, that's just underneath the neck. I'm gonna make that value a little bit consistent, so give it enough suggestions. That's good. this line of the curve, making sure I give it the correct suggestion. Some places doesn't need much detailed and very contrast, but doesn't really mean it is incorrect. We just don't want the people spend looking at the areas with too much attention. But we still need to be accurate. Like in this area. So I blend this area first before I come here to clear this. So suggesting that is the light and that's the shadow area. That. So there's lots of things you need to keep that in mind. Is that need to have good contrast or no? If there is not, should not be have too much contrast. But is that too much attention? Or should be a little ease the attention. Okay. Okay, that's enough suggestions on that. So I don't want to give too much clear definitions. I think this is good. That probably too much texture. Like that. That should be good enough. I think this is a little bit too long. I think that's a little bit too long, so I'm going to soften. Like that a little bit. This. That's okay. I want to have a little soft line going through. That's good. Okay, and the edge over here can be a little bit softer. Like that, showing the texture of the hair. Let's see. This can be a little bit softer. Okay. And I think it looks good. And the edge over here softened it a little bit. Okay. Now I think the drawing is finished.